Hey everybody, I'm Shane Ireland. Welcome to another episode of All Pipes Considered. I have two very special guests with me today. Ciao ragazzi. Come stai?
Ciao Shane.
Good.
Molto bene.
Can you guys please introduce yourselves to the viewers?
Hello everyone, my name is Edoardo Cassani. I'm from Savinelli company and I am the head of production of Savinelli.
Nice to meet you guys. My name is Paolo and I am the export manager at Savinelli. Really glad to be here with you. And
fantastic,
Shane.
fantastic. Yeah, it's been too long since you guys came to the US. So what we want to talk about today, a lot of things for sure, but for those of us out there that may not be totally familiar with the history of the company and where the brand and the manufacturing is today, let's take it back to the beginning, give a little bit of the backstory, and then we'll bring it into the modern day Savinelli. So, the early point of the company.
Savinelli is like a family-owned company. It's a very historical one. So we was founded in 1876 in Milan. Mm-hmm. And nowadays the Savinelli family is still in the company. Mm-hmm. They are very active and they look forward to transmit all the history about the company. That is quite nice, mm-hmm. because they transmit the quality of the company, the made in Italy of the company. That for us it's a very huge value.
Yes.
But history changed, so now we are doing a lot of new stuff, and as Paolo knows, for the export market, we are trying to do our best every day to get new stuff.
Absolutely. So the company originated with the shop, yes?
Yeah, exactly, in Milan, near the Piazza del Duomo.
Which is still there.
Yeah,
the historical shop.
It's still there.
Highly recommended to visit if you're vacationing in the
Absolutely.
area. Beautiful, beautiful location. Refresh my memory, at what point did the shift from the shop into manufacturing begin?
It was after the war, the Second World War, so around 50.
Yeah.
So they decided the demand increased a lot, so they decided to make a new building. Mm-hmm. And so they decided to move near in Barasso, where is the main line of mm-hmm. pipes, near Rossi, mm-hmm. that is the owner of the brand. So they decided to move there, and now we are still there in the same building.
Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. And very little about the production philosophy has changed in that time too.
Yeah.
Still doing everything the old way, the hard way.
Absolutely, yes. We just changed something but the main driver is the quality and also people. That is the main key, because we have a lot of people that work for Savinelli for mainly 20, 30, 40 years.
Yes.
And that's great because they have the know-how, the knowledge, and they know the history of the company. So I think that people is the main driver of Savinelli nowadays.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So to back up a little bit, when production began, again, in the same area, same factory, what has not changed? What I was going to say is how much of the business at this point has moved to the production. You see what I'm saying? So before, now you have international markets and all that kind of stuff. How, in your own words, how has the pipe manufacturing sort of evolved since it began in the 50s or so?
We just moved, we have now, let's say, a mix from classical shape and classical series, mm-hmm. as Punto Oro, Jubileo, Autograph. But then we've moved also to another kind of series like Miele, Vigna, and this kind of stuff that mm-hmm. are particularly different. So, and we move also to a lot of accessories, mm-hmm. cigars and pipes. So I would say that we are trying to make our best to keep in time and get to people in different market.
Sure.
And since we are in 2024 and we're going to have, in 2 years, we're going to be 150 years of history.
Oh, wow.
So we need to change.
Of course.
But at the meantime, the main important stuff remain the same.
Yes.
So that's the key, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, so the family was always very, very in touch with the company. It was founded by Achille Savinelli, and now is the 5th generation of the family that is run the company. Mm. Nowadays we have Giancarlo Savinelli, mm-hmm. that is very on the product, so every pipe that is in the factory, they used to share the design, we share with the design with him. Mm-hmm. And this is very important for us because he knows the market and the history of the family, and we keep the tradition, the main line.
The identity of the brand.
Identity is very
the
important.
Identity of the brand.
And also his son, Achille, mm-hmm. that is 31, 32, is not in the company nowadays. But the most important thing is for us that the Savinelli company is still very proud to be the owner of the company.
Yes.
So I think that this is very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Do you know if he has a favorite model, a favorite type of pipe?
He was a great fan of Punto Oro.
Oh, the Punto Oro. Okay, so classic man.
Classic
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
very
Beautiful,
classic one.
beautiful.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
classic shape. So it's very traditional one.
Yeah, fantastic.
You know, Savinelli moved to Lago di Varese, but also it's on Lago di Varese for different reasons. And it was because the environment there was great to age Breyer. Because
Yeah.
The climate.
the climate was
yeah.
perfect.
The right elevation.
Yeah, right elevation, right ratio of moisture for Breyer. So this was one of the reasons. And I would say the other reason is that it was an area full of small factories, so we could get easily there anything else that we needed for pipes and that we still need for pipes. In fact, for example, we get the rings for the pipes just from a factory very close to us, and
All custom, and
exactly.
yeah.
So it's always been like that, and it was just the perfect area to actually build the factory when the workshop behind the shop wasn't enough.
Okay. We left out that part. There was the small workshop behind the shop.
Yeah, actually, you know, Savinelli was born as the first shop in Italy for catering only to smokers. And it was only a shop, and they were selling mostly English pipes. But then they started thinking, oh, so in Italy we have the best Breyer, so why don't we produce our own pipes? So they started at first repairing pipes in the shop, and then making the first pipes in the shop. And then the demand grew and grew, and then it was time for a real factory. And I would say when Savinelli and Pipes were at their peak, there were about 100 workers in the factory, 100 artisans, so it was like a real big production.
That's a lot of production.
Yeah. So today we are much less people, but still
The efficiencies have grown. And absolutely. Speaking about the shop and the workshop in the shop, when that began, do you have a sense of how many artisans were producing pipes in the smaller workshop?
The one behind the shop.
Yeah.
I think
Just a
it was
few.
Giancarlo at first.
Achille.
Oh, it was Achille.
Achille.
Okay.
Sorry, Achille.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe 2 more workers in the shop where we help him, but it was just 3-4 persons.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, incredible.
Yeah, very small one.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So obviously Savinelli also owns the Rossi brand now, and these are 2 brands and 2 factories going back many years that had a lot of synergies between the businesses. So about how long has Savinelli owned the Rossi brand, and how did that come about?
We own the Savinelli, the Rossi brand since like 20 years more or less, and we have a huge energy because, as Paolo said, this area is full of pipe makers. So especially in the past, but also now, we have a very good relation with all the pipe makers. Yeah. Because it's very important to create a collaboration between all the artisan stuff.
Yeah, of course.
So as we did with Rossi, we did with all the artisans that we have.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I would say, both as somebody that's been involved in the business for a decade and as a consumer for many years before that, so many of us today associate your brand with sort of these continuing innovations and the release of these new series. And at what point do you think was the shift between going from a very, very firm root in the very classical, traditional pipe manufacturing to some of what we see now, which I think is more modern, a little more innovative, and really a lot of fun. We've seen a lot of really interesting finishes and designs and color combinations over the more recent years. Like, when would you say that pivot happened?
I would say around 15 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, about 15 years ago.
So much more modern in the company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. With the new arrival of the new CEO, they changed everything. So and also for them, also other market in the world, we decided to change a little bit. Yeah. So, but Paolo may confirm.
Yeah.
But nowadays we have the classical way and also the modern way. So we don't want to lose the classical way.
Of course.
Yeah. I think also one of the main driver was actually the growth of the US market.
Okay. Yeah.
Which drove Savinelli towards more colorful stamps and a bit more
modern designs. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to talking about some of that specifically as well, but
absolutely.
But yeah, it's been a really, even in the last 2 decades, because Savinelli historically in the U.S. market for many years has been the top brand. And I think a lot of us that got into pipe, it's a very common story. You get into pipe smoking because your father or your grandfather or whatever. So the brand has been, I think, very forward in the mind of consumers for a couple of generations, at least, in the U.S. market. So it's really interesting to see how you guys are maintaining that brand identity and still bringing something new to the table, which is not easy, especially in a business that is so traditional.
Not easy at all.
Not easy at all.
And also, we're looking also for young generation.
Yeah.
For 20, 25, 30 years old.
Of course.
Yeah. Just to want to attract them to and try to say, let's try to smoke a pipe.
Yeah.
So that could be a good way to
absolutely. And I think, I'm not that young. I used to be. But I think that a lot of us that started smoking pipes anywhere in the last 10, 15 years, we were really hungry as a group of consumers for something different.
Okay.
There's always going to be the move to the traditional and to the classic. But yeah, I think a lot of consumers out there in the last many years have looked for something unique, something new, something a little crazy, maybe even sometimes.
Yeah.
Not too much. But
not too much. Yeah. Still has to have the taste, right? The good taste. But yeah, that's been really exciting. I think a lot of people look forward every year to see the new releases for that reason. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed chatting about the brand, and let's see if we can get together again and talk a little bit more about some of the finer points.
Thanks to you.
Thanks to you. It was a
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
See you guys.
Thank you very much.